So, hello, everyone. As everybody starts trickling in, hopefully we all are doing really well today. We've got quite a few exciting developments to really show off this AMA. But to give you a rundown of the plan for today, we've had a list of upcoming things that we want to showcase, but we decided to pick the three most exciting things just because we are conscious of time. After that, we're going to have a couple questions in terms of the feed. And then once that is done, we're going to be announcing the theme for the next Magma competition, which will be starting next Tuesday. So if you're interested in really hopping in and just testing your mettle and whatever the next challenge is going to be, stay tuned. And then once that is done, we are going to be doing a general, nice Q&A with the chat in order to get everybody's thoughts and feelings about a couple new things and just spend time and answer all the burning questions that you might have. So let's begin then. So it's a bit of introduction for all of you who haven't met me before. I am Flooferman, also, although my real name is Sung Yat, and I am a product ecosystem developer at Magma, also helps run the community side. And yeah, really a pleasure to host the 6th Magma Q&A. It's been quite a fun couple of months and really excited to show what we have in store. All right, Wojtek, would you like to give an introduction to yourself?
Sure thing. My name is Wojtek. I'm one of co-founders and chief product officer at Magma. So, I'm mostly I have this difficult job of going through all the feature requests that all of you are posting, which is quite a lot. For which we're also, by the way, quite grateful because it's really helpful to know what is it that community would really like us to implement. So I'm a lot of my time is just going through those, figuring out how do we make Magma better for all of you with every single release.
Very nice, very nice. Ryan?
Okay, so my main role is quality assurance and testing. So when we're working on these new features, once Wojtek has decided, well, this is what we got to work on, and tells the devs what they got to do, once they've implemented things, features go to me and they go through their initial round of testing. And then before things are ready to roll out to everyone, I first hand that over to our awesome group of beta testers and then handle their feedback, see what bugs are occurring, and pass that on to the development team before we do public releases. So that's my primary role.
Amazing. And finally, Bojana, would you like to give an introduction to yourself?
Sure. So my name is Bojana, and I'm a product designer. So yeah, I basically design how everything looks and feels, and before handing it off to the development.
Yeah, amazing. And Bojana actually has been working quite hard on our integration with Story Protocol. So we're going to be diving into that quite soon. But to kick things off then, let's start showcasing a couple of our big new features that we're going to be introducing in the next couple of months or so. I'll say next couple of months, probably like in the next month, depending on what the deadlines are. But anyways, Wojtek, would you mind to take it away?
For sure, yeah. So the first feature we wanted to talk about a bit more today is the we call this creator economy. Maybe that's kind of the buzzword that has been appearing in the internet for a while. Maybe we should actually be talking more about artist economy because really what we want to do is we want to create a way for artists to make a living, to somehow transition from being someone who just dreams about the career in art to actually getting closer to the place where you can make a living out of it. So so this is originally what was in our mind when we came up with this idea. It also came from the fact that when we were often looking what the community is working on, hearing from some of you what are some of the side projects you are all doing, or even right now with the public profiles in Magma, just browsing through the profiles of artists that created their account on Magma, it became clear that a lot of you actually are looking for ways to figure out how to of course, do art, get better at art, but also how to um, get build some commercial success around your style, around your artwork. So, maybe doing commissions, designing some illustrations for books, and so on. And this is where this idea originated. So we thought, okay, so nowadays there is quite a few platforms where artists can find the ways to somehow sell their artwork, sell commissions, but there's no platform that would actually allow artists to like all of these artists are quite generic, and I would say they're not well suited to um, the goals and needs of the artist community. So for example, let's say Instagram, that's quite a generic platform, and although it's possible to build an audience, there are certain limitations when it comes to actual like creating art and interacting directly with your audience and your viewers. So I think that was the one big spark that created this idea. And I think the other big thing which led us to thinking that, okay, maybe like Magma, now being a social platform, there should be some element that will allow anyone who wants to build some commercial success around it, was the fact that a lot of you actually do put a lot of effort. So I know there some members of our community like literally spend like hours daily creating amazing experiences for others. Some of you are actually going on Magma, teaching others, doing this often like without any reward. And while this is great and we actually love it, we also thought that, okay, maybe there should be a way for like others to just express their gratitude, maybe with some small gift, like some like paying back in some way, to just say a thank you for all the effort that some of you are putting into the work on the platform. So those two things led us to kind of coin this idea of adding some of these functions into Magma. And with that intro, maybe Ryan, you can present some of the things that we have now prepared, and we're kicking off soon.
Sure. Okay, so the first thing, something you might notice that is slightly different in my window over here, in the chat window in particular, there's this little icon over here, which represents our in-app currency called MAGs. The first thing we're setting up is the ability to tip those creators who are spending their time doing awesome stuff, putting in the hours, or maybe teaching you how to do things. If you appreciate the work that people are doing, you'll be able to then tip them. So for example, I can, maybe because Vortex got things enabled over here, if I see that, wow, Vortex doing something really cool, I could spend ages just watching him. There's a little icon here, a new little icon when you hover over it, where I can gift him some of these mags and adjust like custom amounts. I don't need to give him that much. That's absurd. It's not that good, No, I'm just teasing. But I can set a custom amount and then say, wow, awesome work. And then I can gift him. And there's a special highlighted chat that will appear in your chat window. And then he'll get a notification, and also then he'll get some extra mags on his account. So there's that ability to just set custom things. This becomes part of the Blaze. Like if you sign up for Blaze, you kind of get a discounted rate on purchasing mags, but otherwise you can, even if you're just on a free or Spark account, you can purchase mags for a certain amount. Of course, the more you get, the greater value of mags you can get. So with that, the next thing that comes up is being able to track, like, well, where are you getting earnings? What kind of stuff's happening? If you are one of those creators who is spending a lot of that time on Magma, you want to know, well, how's it really benefiting me? We've set up a dedicated creator dashboard for this, where you can see your earnings of mags. And I've already just found a bug, which is great. I'll have to take a note of that. But yeah, you'll be able to see your mags, pending payouts and stuff like that. And I showed being able to do a custom a sort of custom amount, but you can also set up specific tiers of tip rewards. So we've got our default ones here that we've set up, like giving a person a fiery hug, which is just 300 mags, or you can challenge those creators as well. Like, I'm going to give you 300 mags and you've got to use only one color to draw something, or you can force people to flip the canvas, or you can set up different kinds of things. You can either use those defaults or you can create your own. So, and that doesn't have to be a challenge or anything. You could just say cookie. Here's a cookie for you, and that's going to be 130 mags for whatever reason. And then you can have that set up. And then what happens is, if you create an art jam or a canvas and someone decides to tip you, then these default options, or these options that you've selected as possible rewards, these will appear in the chat. Now, I didn't set up this particular canvas, that was Sungyat. So when I want to tip someone, it would have his custom rewards if he had some set up. So yeah, we might find a way to change that. I don't know, but yeah, so that's what we got going. Let's have a look what else is here. You'll also be able to see the kind of activity, that's been going on with people following you and with people tipping you. So yeah, I can see, there's been a bunch of people who have followed me. And then there's like more analytics. You can see how much time gets spent, which canvases were like really good for you, which canvases did you receive tips on. So if you've hosted a really awesome art jam, and people were tipping you a lot through that, you can kind of see what worked. Like, maybe you hold one jam that's really successful, and then you hold another one that's maybe not as successful, and you can kind of judge that based on how people have interacted and maybe even decided to tip you here. So yeah, lots of data that hopefully can help those more serious creators on the platform to really work with their following and make Magma work for them, potentially earn an income. And that, which brings me to my next point, like, what can you do with these mags when people start tipping you? We don't have anything ready to spend them on yet within the app itself, but the first phase is to actually be able to cash this out as real money. So if you are a streamer, if you are doing commissions and that kind of thing, and people pay you in mags, at a certain threshold, you'll be able to make a withdrawal, and that's actually money in your account. So really a way to try and empower creators on the platform to earn a living from what they do best. And with that,
I see someone.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry, I'll just chime in for one thing. I see someone commented in the chat. Reminds me of Steam points. Indeed, yeah. So you can think of max about generally as a point system, because obviously it's not a real currency. So if you're not interested in earning money from art, you're more like you're on Magma primarily just for fun, for the social aspect, chatting with your friends. You can still use max as a way kind of to kind of as a fun point system. Right now, as Ryan said, primarily you can just pass it over. If someone says, hey, thank you for help, gives you some max, you can then just thank another person and send it over to them. Or like Ryan said, if you're interested in like earning some money for art, then you can obviously start collecting it and at some point request a payout. But we do have quite a lot of plans of what else could be. We could use the point system in the platform as well. Well, I'm not sure if I should spoil too much, but in general, there's a lot of things that all of you have been already creating and sharing, for example, on the feed. So I've seen some of you sharing like the brush settings on the feed, or sharing like some other tips, or like maybe tutorials. Like, there's a lot of stuff on the platform that could be potentially interesting or even like some private sessions where maybe you devote time to like specific artists to teach them, and then as a return, like you give them some max. We actually have some internal lessons in Magma, like drawing lessons for anyone who works at Magma. So we actually might be switching to using max as a payout system for our teacher as well, hopefully, if he's fine with that. So those are the kind of use cases that we even like see happening ourselves. So maybe it will also resonate with some of you. Oh yeah, custom Magma profile teams. That would be indeed cool. This is we all like. I think we all in the company are fans of Discord, and and some of us, like boosted like the server and have some of those like custom previews. So definitely that resonates with the team a lot.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say, I know in a couple of weeks ago, we brought up like the idea of cosmetics. So, for instance, when we had the Q&A, we heard that we all really were interested in maybe like custom profiles and as well as like custom cursors and different types of joining effects, right? So when it comes to all of these factors, this is the first step, just so we could get the economy running. And then once that is done, and depending on how much interest there is within like Magma product in general, then we'll start exploring different cosmetics, right? So different like custom cursors, different types of profile themes. This is very much like the beginning of a potential creator economy on Magma. So we'd be very interested in really exploring that and diving into it further. See a question there. I wonder how many points is equivalent to real life dollars. Something basically like 10 mags equals something something dollars. Does anyone have any bets? Wojtek, would you like to talk a bit about that?
Yes. So if you can you Ryan open again the menu when you can buy max? There's
sure.
So there is it depends pretty much. It depends how much you buy. So similarly as in some other platforms, if you buy a smaller like larger amount, there's like a discount on the package. It's roughly close to um, mm, 100, right, per max. But again, it depends. There's no specific like single value because it will depend how much you buy. Plus, if you have Blaze, you will actually be receiving some of the max as a part of your Blaze subscription. So we also want to make sure that our Blaze users who've been especially supporting us for a while now are also getting some of those max and can use them on the platform.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, we will try to keep the currency stable. The reason why we haven't really decided to lock in a specific value yet, and it's something we need to discuss, is because when it comes to redeeming these points for real life currency, the real life economy also has lots of fluctuations, right? So like really breaking it down, inflation rates and things really changing a couple of these factors. So we are going to be considering lots of these factors when like adjusting like the points and how much they're really worth. But at the end of the day, they will remain stable, which like stands as a testament, right? Like as a platform, it wouldn't make sense for like mag to suddenly like get devalued or be like overvalued, for instance, right? So we are going to be working very carefully in order to make sure that this rate stays stable, just so it is fair for all the artists on the platform. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the creator economy, unless there's something anyone else wants to talk about. If so, shall we move on to the next point then? Ryan, if you do not mind, I will take over and share my screen.
Yes.
But I must say, on my end, like, I've been kind of talking with a couple people, but unfortunately, Wojtek has not been responding to my messages. It is very sad. But that leads us into this next point, in which, in relation to chat, oh yes, free transform. Well, you know how I mentioned that we are experimenting with many different things on Magma? The answer is yes. We've decided to not showcase it in this Q&A, but yes, we do have free transform. I'm not sure if we can send a video, Wojtek, Ryan, because I know that like Tomek literally just sent a video of it working this morning. But would be cool to send it to the chat, just a little bit of a sneak peek. But if you see in my chat when in the stream right now, are introducing DMs. And I know this has been quite a big point in Magma, of which like, oh, you can really only talk to people within the canvas, and afterwards when you leave, it's going to be a bit hard. But and as we mentioned before, it's been a bit of a moderation challenge because implementing the DM system isn't particularly difficult. It really boils down to our ability in order to crack down on really like bad actors on the platform, right? And for the past couple of months, we have been strengthening the internal moderation capabilities. So can't really show too much, but basically we have increased our ability to really catch specific moderation issues. We've also improved moderation and the ability for us to respond in a quicker manner to these issues. And as a result, now we feel like we've reached a point where we can basically release DMs to the public in the near future. And this ties into the creator economy, right? Because let's say there is an artist there that's like very interested in like that you're really interested in commissioning, and as a result, you want to send them a DM in order to talk maybe about like commissioning something really private from them, right? And in terms of security concerns, we've made it so DMs can only be sent if you both follow each other, right? So it wouldn't make sense for someone to DM someone out of the blue. That would be a bit awkward, and that could lead to like potential for lots of abuse. So we are just going to make it so if you want to DM someone else, you have to make it both ways. Both people have to relatively know each other in order to be comfortable with texting. And Wojtek, I wouldn't do this to you, but and the off chance that Wojtek and I really have an argument, you can also see here that we are going to be introducing blocking as well. And blocking in Magma, long story short, we're still developing it, but it makes it so if you block someone, you won't be able to see their specific texts, they won't be able to join your specific canvases, and they also won't be able to see your posts on like the feed and also the gallery, right? And one important thing as well is that if a user is blocked, they would not be able to join any of your canvases. So for the couple of people here who've been like working on moderating big art jams, hopefully this should make your lives a lot easier. Now you'll be able to create a log of people that you've blocked, and in the privacy settings, you'd be able to really crack down and adjust that list manually. Time to block. Yeah, blocking. Time to block people I don't like. I can't get to unfollow me. Yeah, it's been a feature that's been really like requested. So now we feel like we've reached a point where we can be introducing this soon, especially with the increased chat and with DMs on the way. But very exciting stuff. And hopefully via this, you'd be able to build greater relationships on Magma. But yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of on the DMs and blocking and all of that front. But now we're going to be talking something a bit more technical, but also maybe a bit more exciting for you professional artists out there. So, Bojana, would you like to?
Well, can I add just one more thing?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
with the DMs and with the mechanisms to like figure out who can message you. Right now, as we just said, it's mutual follows, but we are actually also chatting whether we maybe want to adjust this mechanism slightly further, because it seems to us that there are cases where we like, for sure we want the artist to have control over who can message you, so that definitely won't change. But we just thought that maybe some people want to have the setting slightly more open. So especially if you're maybe doing some commissions on Magma, or like looking for some, let's say, opportunities with the creator economy, maybe you don't want to limit like DMs to your friends by default, or like people that you select. So we're actually considering like adding like some levels of permissions where maybe there are certain folks, maybe that's your follow list, maybe just introducing separate friends list where a person would have to be in that list to be able to message you, and then some people might choose to have this setting slightly more open. So but again, these things we always take well with a lot of caution to make sure that it's the platform is still safe for anyone, and anyone can kind of adjust it to the way where it's possible to limit the unwanted interactions. This has always been an important thing for us. Yeah, maybe like a DM request indeed. So the specific mechanism might change, but what won't change is that there will be some control, or there will be control over who can message you, to make sure there are no unwanted like nobody's getting unwanted messages.
Yeah, DMs are coming. We know it's been something that's been very hotly requested, but we're trying to develop it in a way that's really healthy, but it's also like safe, right? All right. So, for the final thing that we want to showcase today, Bojana, would you like to talk a bit about Story Protocol? I will stop sharing my screen just to give you the opportunity to share yours.
by the way. I think Story. Well, Bożena will talk about this a bit more, but Story is a company that went through rebranding. Before they were called Story Protocol. I think now they're just called Story. So I just have to, I just have to point this out
Yes.
in case they'll be watching the AMA, because we tend somehow to forget and just use their old name. And why I think it's funny is because we ourselves rebranded from Magma Studio to Magma, but we're still getting a lot of requests, or like a lot of, we're healing Magma Studio, even though it's been like, I don't know how long, like 2 years or 3 years. I think this name really, like, it's really hard to change the name permanently for a company. So that's just like a funny reminder of that.
Yes. Bożena, to check. Oh, is she experiencing mic issues?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. It's possible.
Wojtek, do you happen to have? Because I feel like I could also showcase it, but it's probably better if you showcased it. There is a video that she sent in the Story Protocol channel, because Ryan is streaming, so I just want to not have him host a video, stream, and also like do the talking at the same time. So,
Okay.
Wojtek, would you mind showcasing it if Bożena isn't able to?
Sure thing. I just need to find the video. If you can point me to it or send me over, I can then share the screen.
Yes, let me see if I can find it for you. Sorry for the little bit of a technical issue, everyone.
Maybe in the meantime, while you look, I can start. I can give intro everyone a bit more about the context of the integration with Story, what Story does. So Story is a company that we've partnered with a while ago, because their mission is very aligned with what we're doing at Magma. So they believe that that every idea has some owner. So pretty much, like everything that's out there has been created by someone. They're creating a system where there's a clear attribution for any IP, any artwork, any asset, any drawing, anything that's ever created. And especially now in the times where there's a lot of AI models being trained, there's a lot of artworks, and not only artwork, just like human creation being used for these models. There's not enough attribution. There's not enough, like like often the authors get forgotten in this environment. So they are building infrastructure where the full, like the tracking of the owner will be ideally possible for everything that is created. And this resonated with us in Magma, because while we are mostly focusing on the actual creation part, it is also important for us that anything that is created on the platform is also staying there, and it's actually properly protected when it comes to the rights of artists. It's not being stolen. It's not being used by some people without authorization. So with that said, let me just share the screen with the video. Unless Bożena, you're back and able to share is your mic working?
I think so, yeah, but I'm scared to share the screen.
Okay, I can share and you can chat about it, or if that works.
Okay, yeah, that could work.
Okay.
Did you find it, Wojtek?
I found it, but I'm trying to, give me one more second. Just open it in my browser. Okay, how do I share here? Okay, I think we're...
There we go.
Oh, great. Okay, so I'm not sure how much has been said by Wojtek about Story. But I'm excited to share that the licensing will be coming to Magma. So soon, whenever you publish your work to the gallery, you will have the option to attach a license to the work that will give others ability to remix the work with proper credit to the original creator. And you'll be able to choose between two types of licenses, one Creative Commons, just make your work legally shareable and remixable with attribution, and story license, which takes it a step further, and it actually saves your IP onto the blockchain, protecting it from misuse like unauthorized AI training, for example. So once the license is attached, it's visible everywhere where the artwork is shared. So on the canvases and gallery feed, giving you more protection and also visibility, because whenever somebody remixes the work, your original will be linked to the remix. You will also have like full control over what type of artworks are shared under your work. Yeah, so Magma like is built all about building on each other's creativity and being inspired by others' ideas. And I think like this update adds on this extra layer of protection and recognition for original creators, and hopefully will open up like a safe collaboration environment beyond art jams for like more versatile ways of having fun at Magma. Yeah.
Amazing, yeah. And this view particularly shows you that what's coming to the gallery is that for artworks when the author agreed that their artworks can be remixed by others, everyone else will be able to do their own like copy, and it will be shown along the original one. So we think that I'm actually super hyped what all of you will come up with, because I imagine there will be a lot of fun, like people just creating some challenges, some maybe daily ideas what to draw, like community coming together, everyone trying their best at a given subject. So yeah, this is coming to the gallery and the feed as well. Very fun stuff. Maybe one thing I will also add, that yes, so right now we're only adding like the licenses for remixing as a first part, although we do want to add more types of licenses in the future. And yeah, generally, like just making sure that whenever you publish, especially some of your work that you put a lot of hours into, it's properly tagged, it's properly marked, and anyone trying to take advantage of you publishing your art will have a hard time from the legal point of view. I think one of this, as Bożena mentioned, it's worth mentioning that Creative Commons is a very popular license. It was created a while ago, way ahead the times of the AI. So it actually doesn't really specify whether any model can be trained on your artworks or not. Really, it's quite agnostic in that regard, which is to work with the story, because their licenses allow to specifically say that you don't want AI to be trained on your artwork and have it permanently listed. So yeah, all the terms are listed here, and you can always, if you're not interested, you can always publish on the standard Magma terms, which we will always also like update in our terms of use before we release this publicly, to be more specifically saying what is allowed, what is not allowed, like under the default Magma license. So yeah, now that the gallery is out, a lot of you are posting amazing art. We want to make sure that there is also around security around this.
Very nice. But yeah, okay, so that's pretty much it in terms of the new things that we want to showcase now that we're mindful of time. We also have, as you probably have already seen, pressure opacity and multiboard that are currently in the works. Free transform is also being developed. And for those creators who are out there, we're also doing a creator program in order to really jumpstart the creator economy. So, quite interesting stuff. But before we go on to general questions and a bit more discussion, Wojtek, I know you wanted to ask a couple things about how people are finding the feed in gallery. I think it's also time to introduce the theme to the next Magma competition. So we've had two past Magma competitions before. So the first one was a general one in order to show off your work in a public gallery, and then the second one was more towards an art jam competition with Huion, right? So the next theme for this competition is going to be, if you can see my screen, it is going to be OC duels. Credits to Nexus for drawing his OC against mine. This is going to be a private canvas competition in which people can make their canvas on an art space or their private a private canvas with 2 or 3 of their friends, in which you would come together, you would draw a competition image of your OCs competing against each other. It will start next Tuesday. We're going to make an announcement post and do all of the fancy formal things soon, and it will last for 2 weeks. First place is going to be the same, so everyone who contributes, so for each contributing person, if you're first, you'll get $100, second gets 50, and third gets 20. So we're really interested in seeing what you all create, but if you are interested in competing, and you're here in this audience, this is your cue to maybe start coming together, forming a team with someone else, and getting ready for OC duels. Okay, so that is everything new that we have to present. Hopefully you all enjoyed everything. But now let us get to the AMA/Q&A/ I guess discussion part. So Wojtek, would you like to kick things off? In terms of asking about the gallery.
Yes, I'm curious because we launched Feed a while ago, and it's been like I would say quite active. We are getting, I think, around, is it 250,000 posts per month? I think around that. So quite a lot. But I was curious because we haven't really heard that much of a feedback. So I wonder if it's like all of you just just like it and don't have any wishes, or yeah, generally I'm curious, like how do you all like see the feed? Is it helpful? Does it help you to find out what's going in your network? Were you able to find some new artists through the feed, or maybe you haven't had a chance to try it out yet? So would love to see. Maybe we can also like move to the question, like other questions, but if anyone has any thoughts on the feed, I would like, it would be really great to hear those. Because we were wondering, we have some ideas what else we can do with the feed. One of them is remixing, but there's quite a lot of other things. But hearing from you would definitely also make it easier to see how you think about it.
Any thoughts in terms of the feed? Also, Sandwich has a question, but we'll cover that after.
It'll get addressed. I'm just pointing out you have a limit of 15 undo actions. That's as much as we keep in the history.
So shall we get to answering the questions? And okay, feed is super good. I think replying is a wish list of mine. Okay, I see. Yeah, that's a good point. Right now, yeah, replying is a bit tricky because I guess you need to type a username of a person manually, which we are quite aware of. Plus, I think in some cases, like when you actually mention a person, they're not getting notifications yet. So I think that's actually the top one missing thing that we identified, like making sure that people that you tag always get a notification. So definitely good feedback. Okay, we also have yeah, I think the feed is a really nice idea. I personally haven't used it much. Okay, I guess that begs the question: why haven't you used it much? It's like one thing we're wondering is like, for example, when you go to the feed, like, are you seeing actually like stuff that you are interested in? Because that's one of the like things Tim is now working on, trying to figure out how you make sure that, like, for example, we have this recommended tab when you go to the feed. There's a discover tab where there's some artworks that we select from the community, but we are trying to figure out how we actually make this more more automated, so we can actually see something that would like apply specifically, interest specifically, like apply to your interest, and you know, things that you would like to see. So any guidance in that director, any feedback also is very, very useful. Yeah.
See, a couple people are typing right now.
Nice.
Yes, currently we're currently working on an algorithm. We don't have a fully established algorithm, the discussion tag. But when it comes to like the main page, it's mainly based off like activities from the people that you follow. So it's not like it's mainly just like only profile and gallery posts. It's also like feed posts in terms of reblogging and all that. But yes, we are working on an algorithm. It's a bit of a tricky one, but we are currently like working towards and really trying to nail that down. Okay. If so, shall we go to the AMA portion of this talk then? Let's start. Yes.
Sorry, one more, because I see here the comment that I think is quite, you know, interesting point or other question from Ren of the Wata. They want Magma to primarily stay an art program, kind of like in early days, or replying to be slowly half and half social media platform and art space. Yeah, that's a good one. I think social media has, at least to me, has some good connotations, but there's also some things that I would say are not like like social media has some concepts that don't resonate with us too much. So, for example, you know, traditional social media often like is evolving around figuring out how to, you know, make people doom scroll more, to say it very directly, which is something that we don't think that's the way for our community. So actually, when we were working on the feed, the goal that we had in mind is to how do we create a way to engage with your community. uh, and by engage, we mean, you know, usually like it could be like, of course, having like likes and comments and in general appreciation is nice, but ideally you really want to create environment where you can connect and co-create with other artists. So that's where the, you know, the idea for remixing is also coming in, because for us the ideal outcome would be that feed is kind of what gives you the creative spark that you maybe need every day, or maybe that you see something and that removes your art block, because you can suddenly uh, you know, remix the idea of another person and just like come up with a great subject for an art. So uh, I would say yes, kind of social media is part of the vision, but I would probably call this like a community rather than social media, so that, you know, we want to focus more on this aspect of building your connections and potentially like making a living, but not necessarily on like, you know, just kind of uh, yeah, let's say mm, yeah, doom scrolling, for example.
I would say, like, fundamentally, we're not trying to become a social media platform. At the end of the day, we are a collaborative art platform with the dream of just letting everybody in the world who wants to collaborate and connect and make art do so, right? And feed is just like one small portion of that. So while we have the main app where people can come together and like physically like draw with each other, the feed is a part of that network because it enables people to maybe connect with those relationships that you might have already been building when you're drawing with them, or also maybe discover new artists that you might be interested in drawing with at the same time, right? So, and that's also where the creator economy comes in, because it also hopefully would also incentivize the creation of cooler works, and also would maybe make people more interested in experimenting with something new, right? So we're not trying to become a social media platform. It's just that feed and gallery are like a small cog of the wider creator artist ecosystem that we're really trying to build. So yeah, all right. In terms of questions, then feel free to ask them away at the chat. We have 14 minutes, but we're going to be going through them now. Sandwich asks, why is the amount of times you undo limited? Wojtek, you want to talk about this one? Or I see Mark is also in the audience, so maybe Mark would be interested in answering that one as well.
Yeah,
as a server
well,
guy.
I know it's directly related to the fact that the longer is the undo history, the more resources it's using on the server, because on technical level we have to keep that history of 15 undos, I think, per person somewhere in our backend, so that if you decide to roll back some of your actions, we still have a version of the canvas that we can easily like show to others, because ultimately you're undoing for yourself, but you're also undoing for the other users. So we have some technical solution that requires us to store those states. So the more undos, the more strain on the server, pretty much. So we thought 15 is the good consensus that allows you to go back. But obviously we know it also from experience from like our own drawing sessions, that sometimes it's not enough. One of the things we're planning as well is to be able to actually potentially keep all of the actions of the happening on the canvas, so that maybe for some like bigger like some cases where you actually want to go back, like let's say 100 actions in the past, you might be able to also do that, maybe not as an undo, but as a kind of like more detailed version history, where you simply roll back canvas to certain time in the history. But that's also quite a challenging thing on the technical level, so can't promise coming soon. But storing this history actually is also what will allow us to do some other cool stuff, like for example generating time lapses of canvas with with any speed that you want, like maybe some like time lapse that is much faster or much shorter, and so on. And I know time lapse has been also a thing that a lot of you has been requesting. So yeah, it's somewhere on the roadmap, but yeah, as I said, there are some technical requirements to make it happen.
But we have been working on it. Like if you attended the past Q&As, we have been like live testing time lapses. So there is active work on that. It's just really nailing it down. How can we pull it off without like ultimately just slowing down the app? Because at the end of the day, we don't want to like introduce too many features and potentially exclude people on like weaker devices, for instance. So yeah, there's that. Atticus asks about tags in relation to the feed and gallery. I'm assuming what you mean, Atticus, there is like searching by tags or like searching for specific terms in galleries or in the feed. Yes. We have created a couple specs in terms of like a search engine, both for art gems and also for feed and gallery. But maybe Wojtek, you might be able to explain why, on the technical level, in terms of like creating a search engine, it's slightly harder.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that it seems so far. So we implemented, for example, tags in the art gems, but so far, at least we concluded, looking at the tags in art gems, that it's a bit tricky, because like in the current version, the tags are not really helpful in searching for the art gems list, because often like it feels that, especially for the collaborative creations, you can't really tag effectively a canvas which has like multiple styles on it, because then it's becoming like really really confusing. A lot of Magma canvases do consist on a lot of styles, a lot of items. So even looking at the Q&A canvas, it's becoming a bit tricky of, okay, how would you tag this canvas? Do we tag like one tag per one artwork, or we come up with just a general tag like uh, I don't know, gem? Um, so yeah, I think that's the trickiest thing with the tags, like figuring out what tag system would be flexible enough to cover like the infinite creativity of Magma community.
But yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Atticus. Bit of fun question. I believe that is the next one. Firewall asks, what are your favorite video game characters? That's a tricky one. Like currently, like I've been playing a lot of Hades too.
Yes.
So
yes.
but in terms of, I guess, a favorite character, I really have to think about it. Ryan, you want to go first?
That's also a difficult one. But what first came to mind for me was actually Zagreus from Hades 1. I enjoyed his sort of dialogue with Homer, who narrates various things going on. Yeah, so for me, it changes depending on what I'm playing. But so far, I've been playing Hades 1 again. I've gone back to it, and so I'm really enjoying Zagreus at the moment.
Bojana, Wojtek?
A bit tricky to say, to be honest. I don't play that much of like games that much, but I probably the first thing that comes to my mind would be, I really like the Witcher game, so probably I would just say Geralt.
Good choice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Bojana? No. I think mic issues. I sense mic issues.
What about you
Okay,
guys
well,
in the audience? That's a good question to the audience as well.
I think for me, like, it's a bit of a tricky one because I like to play games that like you kind of create your own story. So if you had to really like nail it down, I would say maybe like Tab from the Gate because it like from Baldur's Gate 3 because of like how much you're able to really build. But I know that's like might not be the answer that you're really looking for because it's like a set like precedent personality. So I would say Zagreus is probably up there. I mean, Milinoe is there as well, but like her story is not done yet. So like
Yeah.
we have to wait for the beta test to finish. But okay, let's go back to a couple other questions. Sunday, I'm assuming that's how I pronounce your name. Sunday or Sunday noon. I see the mainstream, but I see so many artists have their stuff covered up from pop-ups like chat and the DM feature. Is there going to be a setting where you can put the opacity of the background on the chat instead of a flat color? That's a good suggestion. So, like making it instead of gray, like maybe making it like a transparent or a see-through gray.
Yeah.
I think that's cool.
That's incredible idea, and it reminds me that we actually have similar feature for the voice chat, so it makes a lot of sense. And actually, we could also make it in a way where you can, with one click, you just make it see-through, so we can even draw in that space without triggering events. That's kind of how it works for video, opaque state. And then if you want to chat, you just like tap a button and it receives your events again. But this way, you can see what's going on without losing your screen state. So. Yeah, that's brilliant. Thanks for bringing this up.
All right, Mark, it's time. I see you're in the chat. It's time for you to go back to the drawing board and full send it. Okay, let me find the next question. Are you guys planning on doing customizable portions of certain windows, brushes, layers, etc.? I think it would be a really useful feature, and being able to set positions as presets that you can save. Kind of think it as like the Click Studio Paint workplace system where you can save and load it. Ryan?
Sorry, I was busy with something completely different. I missed what the question was.
Okay. I guess Ren was asking a bit about this. I am slightly confused by the question, but maybe you'd be able to dive into a bit further.
The customizable positions?
Yeah.
So this, that's been requested quite a bit, and it is something that we've looked at. And if I remember correctly, Wojtek, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Marta did have some designs for, or was working on some at some point, of being able to adjust the UI a bit so that you can shift things around, especially for, like maybe left-handed people, for example, who might want to have their layers and their color wheel and everything shifted over to the left side. It is something that we've looked at but aren't currently working to implement.
We do have super simple mode.
Yeah.
To adjust that.
So I think so far we've been generally having this approach of we try to figure out like the best layout in general, but I guess um, by this point we probably know that it's very hard to actually like address all of the cases at the same time, because some of you have drawing tablets. I know some people like still actually draw with the finger, for example. Some people are on the phone, some on tablets, and so on. So I think we will definitely have to do it at some point. That's not the current like main focus right now. We are actually planning to do some UI tweaks soon. But that will probably come before like making the UI modular, because we pretty much we need to um, um, unify and kind of clean up some of the code we have in the editor, so that everything is a standalone component. We have a very clear structure, and once we have that cleaned up, we can think about next steps of making UI a bit more modular. So definitely coming up at some point, but probably not in the very near future.
Nice. Next question: does the Magma team plan on doing an animation feature? We've answered this a couple of past Q&As, but basically in a summary, yes, we know it is something that a lot of our users want to do, and in the medium term, we may be interested in exploring maybe like a GIF/GIF, depending on how you want to pronounce it, feature in which you'd be able to make really short animations. But in terms of like a fully fledged feature that lets you like create like fully animated videos, that's a bit outside of the roadmap right now. So, I mean, it's not impossible. Like we could do it, but in terms of like immediate goals, it's not something that we're going to be striving for just yet, unfortunately. Layer grouping developed anytime soon. So it would be convenient if we could be able to move multiple layers at once. Yes. I can answer this one because we've had the discussion when we were in Amsterdam. Actually, we had a company offsite in which layer grouping is a tricky one. We haven't fully dedicated an initiative in order to really start developing it yet, but we've been trying to explore different ways in order to really go about it. The main issue is because Magma is a collaborative platform, there are lots of consequences when it comes to that, right? So it's like if, for instance, there were 10 people on the canvas with like 30 or 40 layers and someone puts them in a group and transforms it, right? That experience, if it's in Photoshop or Clip Studio Paint, is fine if it's just your device. But if a lot of other people are drawing on the same time and you transform 40 layers at once, you could create lots of lag. So it's all about understanding that aspect of it first. But we know it's something that's important. We know we really want to dive into it. It's just quite a big technical challenge. Wojtek, you want to talk about it a little bit more?
No, I think you nailed it. Yeah, definitely needed. I would probably also say that there are a few things maybe that also relates to animation, that as Sungi said, we might experiment with some simple ways to create like GIFs, like as a kind of experiment to see if that's enough for some of you to do some awesome creations, but without diving in deep into the subject, because the reason is that we still feel we have quite a few things to do, to finish on the actual like drawing drawing experience. So one of those today, it was brought up, the free transform, which is currently under development, coming up soon. Layer groups, I would consider this is also like part of like the kind of the core drawing experience that needs to be solved probably before venturing into like space outside of the drawing workflow. And there are a couple others that frequently come up as well, like symmetry, liquify, probably top things in my mind. So yeah.
Nice.
Just a quick, I'm going to jump in here. Sorry, Songyat. I see Sunny Days asked about, for those who don't have Discord at the moment, is there a way to report bugs if there isn't a feature already? So actually within Magma itself, and maybe Songyat, through your canvas there, you can maybe direct your, there's a help menu at the top. And when you click on that, there will be the option to report a bug or chat directly with support. And if you chat directly with support, then either myself or Nexus, or possibly Sungyat as well, will pick that up and we can help you further with things there. If you're on the dashboard, there's another icon that's going to be in the top right with a little question mark. So there is that option. Otherwise, you can email us directly at support@magma.com.
All
There we
right.
go.
So unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. But we hope you all enjoyed this round of Q&A. As you've probably already seen, lots of very exciting stuff coming in the really near future, I would say. Creator economy, we're interested in rolling it out in the next month. Correct me if I'm wrong, Wojtek, maybe next month or two. DMs is going to be released alongside that. And Story Protocol is probably going to be released also around like end of July, if not early August. So lots of exciting things. And overall, it was really a nice pleasure to share what we have in store. And I will see all of you in the next Q&A. All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Good luck, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up. And if you're going to be competing in OC Duels, get ready. I will see you all there. All right.
Bye.
See you. Goodbye.
Thanks, everyone.